Hello, welcome back. This is video 3 of a 3-video series titled Tools for Determining Outdoor Recreationist Spatio-Temporal Behavior in a Variety of Settings. And again, my name is Brian Peterson. At Clemson University. I work in the Park Solutions Lab with the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Management. And this is going to continue on about my discussion here, and I hope you learned something today. So the last slide that I left off on was density analysis. And so moving on, we're now going to discuss recreation suitability mapping, and this is what the title says it is. It's looking for where recreation is suitable. And to understand this, survey data is employed. And so if you look at the figure on the left, that it was constructed by Biko, Halo, and Brownlee in 2014. And they looked at different areas in the Clemson Forest in South Carolina that are suitable for different recreationists, such as hikers, runners, mountain bikers, and horseback riders. And to understand this, the first step is gaining that insight through survey data. I conducted a similar type of recreation suitability mapping for the Northern Appalachian Trail, where I mapped out where people will have a different types of an experience challenge. And so again, I use survey data to look at how challenge is affected by various trail conditions. And so I looked at how trail conditions affect challenge, and then I went out to the Appalachian Trail and measured out the trail conditions out there and said, okay, this area would have a high level of challenge and low level challenge, and quantified that level of challenge and then mapped it out. The next type of analysis I want to discuss is cluster analysis. And there's many different types of cluster analysis, but I'm just going to focus on two. The first one is a spatial cluster analysis called Hotspot, Geddes Ord, GI Star. And this identifies hotspots and cold spots of clustering. And it uses a spatial component as part of its algorithm. There's also in SPSS, you can use an aspatial clustering analysis called K-means. And looking at that third bullet point that I have on the slide, Peters et al. Combined hotspot analysis and that K-means to answer their research questions. And the way that they're able to do this is the hotspot analysis produces z-scores. And what they did is they took those z-scores from spatial clustering, plugged it into the K-means along with other data to really gain a deep understanding of what was going on for their research site. So here is some clustering analysis that I conducted for the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah. And to conduct this analysis, I created a grid at the Bonneville Salt Flats. And then for that grid, I plugged in into the hotspot analysis, waypoints, average speed, minimum speed, maximum speed, and variance of speed. And I looked at what areas have clustering in the same grid cells. And I noticed that for maximum speed and waypoints, and those are the two on the far left there of that figure. And if you look at the different color variations, you have red for the 99% confidence level, and that's at p-value of 0.01, and then the orangish color is for 95% hotspot confidence at the 0.05 p-value level. And taking this information from where waypoint clustering and maximum speed clustering intersected, I then plugged that into a multivariate spatial grouping analysis to help management design zones. And so what we were looking at here was from the clustering, notice that areas of high waypoint clustering and areas of high maximum speeds are clustering in the same areas. So to take the analysis a step further, this was plugged into the multivariate spatial grouping analysis. And this was the output here. And if you look at the figure, you can see that there's 5 different groupings, but of specific interest is groups 3 and 4. If you look at the parallel box plot on the right-hand side, you can see for group 3 that group 3 visitors exhibited a high level of maximum speed and a high level of waypoint counts. This means that there are maximum speeds and high levels of waypoints occurring in the same area. This means that there could be safety could be compromised, or even some visitor conflict because there's potential crowding conditions and high vehicle speeds occurring in the same area. Same thing for group 4. You can see that there's high max speeds and high waypoint count, but not to the degree of group 3. All right, moving on to speed analysis. This was conducted by Botter 2013 to look at speed of tourists in Berlin. And these tourists carried around GPS data loggers, and he looked to see where the tourists were moving around at a quick pace and where they were stopping at. And this helped determine areas that were attraction sites just based off of the GPS data. The next analysis that I want to talk about is sequence analysis, and this was conducted by Cheval et al. 2015, and they also looked at tourists, like the last slide that I showed, and they looked at tourists in Hong Kong, and what they did is they broke Hong Kong up into different functional zones, which you see on the figure on the left, and then they created a typology in accordance with what sequence visitors went through the different functional zones and how long they stayed in these different functional zones. So that's the end of the analysis tools I want to talk about. And now I wanted to discuss the need to use multiple tools. Multiple tools are a good idea to use when analyzing GPS data because PPAs have varying contexts. And so to understand that those unique contexts of parks and protected areas, it's helpful to use multiple tools. And multiple tools also can be used to cross-validate each other and also provide a comprehensiveness to the study. So some examples are coupling GPS data loggers with social data like surveys or qualitative interviews, cross-validating PPGIS with GPS data loggers, and for comprehensiveness, you can do something like use GPS data loggers, infrared trail counters, field cameras, and social data to gain comprehensive understanding of recreationist spatiotemporal behavior. So site-specific conditions and subjective characteristics influence recreationist spatiotemporal behavior. Coupling any spatiotemporal method with social data is a necessity towards advancing understanding of recreationist spatiotemporal behavior. Questionnaire data provides a contextual tool for determining the why behind spatiotemporal behavior, such as motivations and values. So in summary, I discussed 4 different data collection tools and 8 different analysis tools. I hope that this video helped you out and that you learned something. My name is Brian Peterson, and if you have any further inquiries, feel free to email me at bpeter6@clemson.edu. And thank you for your time.